Well, it's my death day today, 2009. I remember last year's, I didn't take a look at it, but I think it had something to do with Mother's Day and asking people to think about trying to get 3 months out of their lives a year to experience nature. This death day has been quite lazy, I suppose, possibly selfish. I woke up and really enjoyed being in bed, so I just decided to stay in bed. But I do that quite often. Nothing too special about today. Decided to go for a walk. Went to Brockwell Park, nearby here in Brixton, and found a nice seat, looking down. Way off in the distance I could see the London Gherkin on the horizon. There's a tower block opposite with scaffolding. And I spent most of my time trying to defocus and realised that most of my attention was single pointed. We're spending a lot of our time thinking and talking and drawing our attention to things, whereas what I was trying to do was just dissolve it. Noticing how the wind blew nearby and afar. Noticing leaves and the branches of the tree, sounds, a lot of mothers and fathers with crying babies behind me. Off in the distance, a dog. But my attention would go from one thing to another, like I've been narrating this. Whereas I was trying to see if I could experience the simultaneity of it. I'd like to do more of that. Then went to see Barnaby, who I haven't been in contact with because I forgot my charger from Scotland. And we had a nice further walk in another park, which is nice. He's a bit mad. He's actually been in a mental institution 6 times in his life so far. Twice for attempted suicide. And when we came back home, I decided to go by we noticed, in fact Barnaby knew that there was a prison nearby, Brixton Prison, so I went in there, and I went in to see if I could speak to somebody about putting this game, Tron, into schools. It's changed. And can you believe it, they said, write a letter. I said, can I have a telephone number or an email? Oh, just write a letter. Okay. Actually, eventually we did. I managed to get a telephone number. So Mette, Sophia, I was a girl there. And I meditated, had a bath, but really, today's not been that unusual. I would tend to be mindful, to breathe. If one can split one's attention, I think the idea is, as I try to do walking through the park, is to breathe and notice one's breathing, and then to include another attention stream. For example, the texture of the earth as you're walking across it, and then add more and more until one is observing, I suppose, many different aspects of reality. I also noticed the difference, obviously, between smell and hearing and visual. Visual is much more object-based, and sound is much more transformative, and smell, that's quite a subtle one. Anyway, so it's been quite a kind of selfish death day today. Perhaps I'm not taking it seriously. My thoughts keep on going if I do think about this for the future. What might happen next year? Because next year is going to be more significant. This is my last year where I'm attempting to do something about the state of the world. I'll be finishing off this year, I believe, with 2020 World Peace. I think the opportunity for that will die this coming year. I'm focusing all my attentions and energies on Tron and trying to get that in schools, hopefully to bypass all the argument and theory. I think it's heralding a new kind of way of working, which is to come up with something which integrates lots of different technologies or understandings or learnings all in one thing. So it's like looking at a Go game and noticing the one move, playing it, and then finding that that move subsequently, retrospectively, was the move. Very recently had this insights from Keith and from going to the media ecologies workshop a week ago, 2 weeks ago, about open everything, is to assist with the Maldives, taking a stand in the Maldives, where the highest land point is, I think, 2.7 meters or something. So rather than thinking about icebergs, it's more putting yourself on the front line of change and the effects of environmental disaster. But that's all this coming year, and quite frankly, it's got very little to do with today's death day. You can't really think ahead. Everyone's focusing on today being the last day. So I don't really have much to say. You see, my mind keeps going forwards, thinking about this next kind of final year. I'd like to set up situations such that, should I die at any point, certain things have been put into place. I wonder what I'll think looking back upon this in a year's time, or 10. Global Earth time 0.